right, ladies and gentlemen, as it has been for a while, the more interesting things in the MFF updates lately are not the characters, but the events and leaks. So we got a lot to get through today in this initial first impressions update video, but we will start with the characters because there's just not that much to say, unfortunately. I will do dedicated video breakdowns for Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Woman, Human Torch, and Thing, but the early consensus, it's not a consensus, the early impression that I have is that they are better for PvE and identical for PvP. It's probably not identical for PvP, but the thing is they weren't performing that well in PvP anyways, so they did need a pretty sizable, dramatic jump in order to be useful. And since no one got iframe ignore, since no new effects got added or any sort of major tankiness, layers, there's just not enough pieces here to make sense for PvP. But on the PvE side of things, they're going to hit as hard or harder. I found about a 10% increase for all of them across the board. Now, for some people, that's really not a lot, and especially if you invested in Fall of the Fantastic Four, you may not feel like it makes any sense at all, and I partially agree with you. I do think these uniforms are undercooked. I do think that Netmarble is once again selling very minor upgrades, but it kind of is what it is at this point. This is the year of 2025 for us, right? We literally have seen this all year. Winter Soldier, Daredevil, Kingpin, the Fantastic Four, even to an extent Sentry, They've been doing a lot of this. So, yeah, it is unfortunate that they do it again. It is unfortunate they do it for another MCU update. But, again, look at Yelena. Look at Red Guardian. This was not necessarily a surprise if you take their recent performance. So, that's about all I have to say right now for the characters. It's not great in terms of large, big upgrades. But, yeah, Mr. Fantastic's a lot easier to play, proc-friendly, hits harder, which is nice for sure. Invisible Woman, same thing, still proc friendly. Probably the only character that it got harder to play. Johnny got a little bit harder to play, and also Thing got a lot harder to play, but no one was playing Thing in PvE, and if you are, reach out to me. I would like to send you a care package. The bingo is pretty hot right now. I can't do a full guide video for the bingo in the time that it takes for the bingo to be done, because the bingo is done in 3 days. So I'm just going to give you guys the quick and dirty right now. I also did say it quite a few times on stream, so if you missed it or if you don't understand it in this video, go back and watch the live stream that I did, about 4 hours of that. I explained it at least once. You want to buy everything that costs gold whenever it appears. You want to just buy it immediately, and then anything that costs less than 100 crystals. I repeat, anything that costs less than 100 crystals, you buy it. So I just bought those because they were 100 each. Or whatever, 100 or less, right? If it's 100 or less, buy it. If it's over 100, ignore it. And that means anything that's 125, 130, 135, you just ignore all of those, and you just buy the 100s, the 95s, and the 50s, as well as, so anything gold, and then anything for 50, 95, or 100 crystals. And then you'll be done in about 2,500 crystals, I believe. And the reason why I'm telling people to do the bingo this time around is that you'll get 2 free CTPs if you do that. So what do I mean by that? Well, you get the tier 3 material bundle for stage 1, which is not really that interesting, and it's going to take forever to load now that I'm using it. Okay, great, fantastic. Just delaying the video here. The tier 4 growth material bundle is a little bit better because it's tier 4 materials, but it's not a lot of tier 4 materials. I believe it's about 500 of each, if this wouldn't take 10,000 years to load. But then for the third step, you do get the CTP. You get the CTP, and then I've confirmed that when you get the CTP from the bingo, you can then jump over here, and you can pick up the free one. So doing the bingo essentially gives you 2 CTPs of competition for the price of essentially 1. So for about 2,500 crystals, by doing the 3 boards, you get 2 CTPs. Then you can take those 2 and combine them into 1 mighty, and then you get another mighty for free. You don't have to pay or anything to get this mighty because it's only from reforaging. So you can actually basically get 4 CTPs essentially for the price of 1, right? Because you get 1, which allows you to get a 1 for free, and then you turn those 2 into 1 mighty, which always costs 2 anyways, and you get another free mighty. So technically you got 4 competitions worth of CTPs for one, which is very, very good. So I do recommend the bingo, but if you are very impatient, if you can't stop yourself from clicking on the more expensive items that cost more than 100 crystals, then yes, it is going to cost you more than 2,500. I had people reaching out to me, it cost me 3,500, it cost me 4,000. Yeah, bro, because you were just spamming and you were just buying everything. That's not the advice that we're giving. We're giving the advice to go slow. You have 3 days to do the bingo, so on average, you should take 1 day per board, which is another way of saying if you reach the bingo, if you only start the bingo on the last day or the second last day, you will have to speed it up, so to speak, by sometimes purchasing the more expensive item to refresh the shop faster, sooner, to see more items. Just keep that in mind, because if it finishes before you're done the third one, then you're going to lose out on everything, and then it's not worth it. So that's about all I have to say for the in-game stuff. There is a little bit more that I'll cover, like there's a timeline quest, which is very good and gives you free CTP. There is the new world boss, which I will have a video on with my initial reaction specifically, but I think it's very fun. I think it's cool, and it does have pretty solid rewards. And then they also, surprise, they added in, they basically buffed the rewards of Galactus GBR. So for the next, I believe it's until the August update, so it might be for like a month. The rewards that you get in Galactus are actually the exact same as the rewards you get in Dormammu. Exactly the same. So I tested it out multiple times, and I was getting essentially the same drops. So with 6 boost reward, whatever, I was able to get about 150 Soul of the Faltine, and then I only had to do 1 extra run, which holds par with Dormammu. So this is very, very good for newer accounts, for less built accounts. It's also really good for accounts that were crashing in Dormammu GBR, because Galactus GBR, maybe you don't crash. I don't know. Maybe it has fewer animations. And it should be faster as well. And it's easier because he has less HP. They didn't make him any more difficult. They just buffed his rewards and added the Vishanti books that were not there before. And I did get my Vishanti book today from Galactus. It took me 3 runs, but it also takes me a long time with Dormammu. So this is a very, very good change. And I think it also heralds what we'll be seeing in the next full update. But before the next full update, we do have the mid-month. And for those of you eagle-eyed viewers or players who went into the archive and went over to the token archive, we have 3 new tokens added. So we have the Fantastic Four token added. This is for the Fantastic Four event. Presumably this is for one of the token events that gives you like the P card or whatever. We have the 2025 Summer token, which we don't know what this is about yet. It could be for sales. It could be for something else. We thought you'd normally would think that maybe this is for the seasonal uniforms. But then we also have the Summer Queen event token. Now this one with the giant X-Men X from House of X or Sources of 10 or Powers of 10 indicates that we're getting a mutant at some point. And the next the next update, the mid-month, is going to land in August. That is usually when the summer seasonal uniforms get dropped, get added. We know that Shalabal is going to be coming in that mid-month. So I think in 2 weeks, we're going to get Shalabal, who has been datamined as a native tier 2 character. And we're going to be getting the 2 seasonal uniforms, which will also bring back all of the previous seasonal uniforms, Luna, Psylocke, Yondu, Mysterio, etc. If you go over to the Datamine website, Thanos Vibs, you can see here that they have posted the Datamines as follows. Emma Frost, which makes sense for the Summer Queen. It could have been Emma, could have been Jean, it could have been Madeline, but in this case it's Emma. And then Groot, or as I like to call it, the guy made of wood and the woman that gives you wood. That's a free joke. You can take that one for free. And then yes, Shalabal confirmed as a native tier 2. So this is pretty big. This is pretty juice for the mid-month. However, it gets juicier. When you initially queue up the timeline quest, you will be prompted with this cutscene where Doom warns of Galactus. He warns that Galactus, a devourer of planets, is coming, and he's going to be brought forward by his heralds. Now, we know the whole herald thing with Galactus is literal, right? Because they herald his arrival. But we also know that multiple characters have been heralds for Galactus, including characters we have in the game, like Spider-Man and I think Deadpool, and also characters that we have never had in the game, like Terrax, an Airwalker, and all this other stuff. There's a bunch of heralds that are just freaky aliens that we don't have in the game at all, that exist in Contest of Champions, for example, in other games, and etc. And that's important because in addition to this data mine, we've also discovered in the game files a Galactus icon. Okay. Yeah. And then we have, of course, the in-game stuff that is not data mined, but is just real. So from the depths of space, the Devourer of Planets is coming to consume ours, along with his heralds. And then there's also this bit here in the timeline quest where it says there's an ad on the internet job board recruiting Galactus's heralds. Who the heck is playing this trick? This points pretty strongly to a Heralds of Galactus and Galactus epic quest. And remember when we had the anniversary update and they had the anniversary video where they talked about the dev note and they talked about you know, an epic quest that a lot of people have been asking for a long time. And we speculated that that would be the Heralds of Galactus epic quest. Because if you go on Google and you just search Galactus epic quest, there are so many. 1, 2, 3. Just on this front page, there's 3, 4, 5. Multiple fan-made. This one's a bit excessive. But multiple fan-made Galactus epic quests, which presumably culminate in unlocking Big Purple, aka Galactus. So I would not be surprised, and here you can actually see, if we open up this image, you can see a lot of the heralds that have actually already been mentioned, or that appear in other Marvel games. You have Airwalker, Firelord, Terrax, Stardust, Praetor. We have Anti-Man in the game already, but there's a bunch of characters here that have been heralds at one point in time, are heralds now, etc. Exist in other games. We have Silver Surfer, we're getting Shalabal. So it's definitely a big possibility that we get Galactus. So, and maybe he's going to be native tier 3, maybe he's going to be native tier 4, we don't know. But this should be, I mean, I think this is pretty likely. I don't think it's guaranteed. This is still speculation to an extent, but I think it's pretty likely at this point, given all of the context clues and also given what we've seen from other games. So specifically Marvel Snap. Now, although other games don't necessarily translate into updates for Marvel Future Fight, they can be indicative of where Marvel games, the part that interacts with Netmarble, that interacts with Second Dinner, etc., is sort of guiding the devs and saying, hey, we want you to focus on this, we want you to focus on that. So as you can see here, the season preview for August of this year for for Marvel Snap is Heralds of Galactus. And shout out to, I think this is Zero Skill Samus for putting this together. This is really cool. But they basically data mined a bunch of stuff. And so they're going to be releasing a brand new Galactus card. They're going to be releasing a bunch of heralds, including Shalabal there, Stardust there, Frankie Ray there, the Fallen One, Cosmic Ghost Rider, who we have in the game already, Firelord, Airwalker, Redshift, and Terrax, who already exists in Marvel Contest of Champions. So this is, again, more sort of speculation that's mounting towards the idea that Marvel Future Fight could follow suit with a game like Snap and release a Heralds of Galactus epic quest. And it would fit with what they said as a hint, as a clue in the dev note in April, and it would also fit with something that players have been asking for ages. So that is all of the information ahead of this update that I wanted to drop for you guys, so you guys have the most information possible, so you can start hoarding materials in case Galactus really tickles your fancy, or in case you want to start, you know, looking for job applications. I know I use this you know, scary word. In case you want to pick up potentially, probably, Emma Frost's seasonal uniform in 2 weeks. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. I'll have a bunch more content for you. Keep it locked here on the channel. World Boss stuff, character reviews, etc. Thank you so much for watching the video. Good luck with your bingo. Smash the like button if you enjoy the content, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.